Well, there's a lot of upset people on the internet right now, and this time it's because a Mexican streamer by the name of Rivers happened to win the Esports Award for Streamer of the Year. Again. And the reason why so many people are frustrated about this outcome is because there were other prominent nominees that included Cenat and ishowspeed among a whole host of top streamers in the space. Now, there's a lot of speculation as to the reason why Rivers won this award. Some people are claiming it's because the entire award show is just rigged, while other people like Asmongold are claiming it's because she's a woman, but see for yourself.
I'm salty that it was obviously a diversity pick because she's a woman, and everybody knows it. It should have been Speed or Kai or Queso or like 3 other people. Everybody knows it. It's fucking obnoxious. Or Ebi. You put her up there because it's a female. It's embarrassing.
Now, there's another point that a lot of people, including Asmongold, have been making, and this is backed up by statistical data, right? But Rivers is at the bottom of the top 10 list of female streamers. So why was she the only female streamer to make the list of nominees? Like, what exactly is going on here, and how do we make sense of this? So at the center of all of this outrage from fans of some of the other nominees like Cenat, for example, but also some of the biggest streamers who were current or former nominees for the same award, is the belief that Rivers winning is not fair. So what we need to figure out is that true or not? So our primary consideration should be how the nomination process plays out for the Esports Award, because compared to other award shows like the Grammys or the Oscars, for example, there's a panel of mystery individuals whose identities may or may not be revealed. They're supposed to have some kind of experience, some kind of standing within the industry, right? And they're supposed to be able to look at individuals and nominate them to be considered for the award because of the accolades that they've been able to accomplish during the course of the previous year. So I'd say the best thing that we could do right now is look at some of the previous year's nominees just to get an idea of this criteria. So in 2022, this is the list of the nominees for Streamer of the Year, and it was won by Ebi. It makes sense, he's a massive streamer. But in this list, there's QT Cinderella and there is Valkyrie. Both really great female streamers, I will say. But when it comes to actual output, like performance overall, they don't really compare to a lot of these other streamers in terms of viewership, in terms of hours watched, like Tim the Tapman, for example, Asmongold. It's not even a contest. So these nominations, I would assume that there is somewhat of a subjective element that goes into it. So in 2023, the Streamer of the Year winner was Sammy Rivers GG Rivera, and she was up against Ebi, she was up against XQC, Cenat, Tarek. QT Cinderella's in there again. Once again, it's one of those things to where I understand that subjectively you want to have a nice mix of streamers. Technically speaking, the top 50 streamers for 2022, 2023 and beyond, male. That's just how it's been. Female streamers don't really tend to compete with men streamers in terms of the overall performance, not to bash the quality of their content or anything like that. You just can't look at it the same way. You know, it's like a man running a 100-meter race and a woman running a 100-meter race. Yes, they're doing the same thing, but you're not going to get the same outcome. And that's basically an analogy for streaming, for better or for worse. But in comparison to a lot of these really big, really famous, really popular streamers, Rivers won in 2023. And then in 2024, Rivers won again, despite all of these other streamers, including Cenat and ishowspeed, who a lot of people have argued really went ham with the content this year. So basically, I would say the first reason why Rivers was nominated is because if you wanted to have a category for an award that would include male and female streamers, if it was going to be completely fair, there wouldn't be any female streamers because all the male streamers would just overwhelmingly, just on the virtue of their performance, on the merit of what they're able to accomplish in comparison to a lot of these female streamers, they just wouldn't be able to compete. And so in that sense, you know, inclusivity and whatnot. But it does beg the question that amongst the top female streamers, why Rivers specifically? I mean, there's always going to be that subjective element to picking her as a nominee. And so I think the second reason why Rivers was picked was because she won the award last year. So in that sense, she's still relevant as a contestant streamer to win this award. But this is where it gets interesting. You see, I don't think that people in general on the internet, whether it's fans of the nominees or the streamers themselves, I just don't think that people very much care about the esports award. And that's just the genuine truth. I mean, unless you're in esports, right? But when it comes to the streaming side of things, I don't think that people have really been paying that much attention to the awards, because if they were, last year, they would have been outraged about the fact that Rivers had won, and then there would be no way that Rivers could possibly be a nominee for this year's award show, given the criteria or given the statistics that people have been comparing to make the argument for why she shouldn't be a nominee. But she was a nominee this year, and she did win. And the reason why is because she received the most votes to be the winner. It's as simple as that. She wasn't picked by a panel to win the award. She was picked by a panel to be a nominee. But ultimately, the people who decided who should win the award are the fans. So realistically, any streamer that wanted to win the award, all you needed to do was just tell your fans to go and vote for you. But I feel like there's an ego aspect that plays into this, to where I don't know if it's maybe ego or the fact that viewers and streamers just don't care enough to vote or to ask for the votes. But Rivers did, and her fans do care about that. And so for that reason, it just so happens that Rivers and her fans care so much more about this award, okay, than everybody else in comparison, that is the sole reason why she's been able to win this award 2 years in a row. But you know what? Let's take this a step further. We're going to look at her response to winning the award. So take a look at this. Este premio es de mi comunidad. I'm just kidding. The translate post here. Look at this point that she makes right here, right? So I hope to one day be as good a creator as the other nominees. Like, nobody wins an Oscar, right, or a Grammy and says, I hope to one day be as good as the other nominees. Like, she clearly knows that in comparison to some of the other nominees for this award, that she's not exactly beating them in terms of quality of content or performance, right? But she's praising her community and she's thanking her community because ultimately she knows that they will kill for her, and they busted their asses every single day to vote hard to get her to win this award. And that's simply why she won the award. Rivers being a woman, it does factor as a reason why she did win this award, but it's not the primary factor. It's more of a minor factor, because ultimately this award is a mixed gender award. And when you have an award that requires nominees of both genders, but it's not a competitive award, it's more of a perceptive achievement-based award or a popular vote award, you can never expect it to be fair, you can never expect it to be balanced. And that's ultimately what's happened here. I think one of the biggest issues with all of this is that the Streamer Awards, because of the fact that people don't care enough about the award show in itself to understand how it works and how people ultimately win the awards, that's the root of all of this outrage. People don't realize that it's simply a matter of voting. If enough people vote for somebody to win, then they're going to win. And a lot of these other streamers didn't encourage their viewers to vote for them to win. I think a lot of these streamers potentially assumed that they would just win based on the merits of their accomplishments over the past year. You know what the solution to all of this is? And I genuinely like this idea, so let me know what you think. I think that it would be very intelligent to just split the Streamer of the Year award and the Content Creator of the Year award and just split it into two. Make it male and female. I don't think that there's anything wrong with that. Personally, I like that idea. And ultimately, it will allow us to spotlight more female creators who are in their own right incredibly entertaining, hardworking, and accomplished. And it will shine a light on more female streamers. But at the same time, male streamers who have been doing their thing, it'll pretty much be the same thing for them, except now there's no competition between the sexes for who should be considered the Streamer of the Year as a singular award. And that ultimately, there's no comparison between the two. It's just not the same thing. It's apples and oranges. So this just makes sense. Split the award into male and female, and we can solve a lot of problems. And that's the bigger picture.